Okay, so I want to make another video looking at interviews with Trump supporters, just so we can kind of see how these people operate and what they think and if they're starting to change their mind or anything. So this is CNN interviewing Trump supporters in South Dakota in an area that voted 70% for Trump. Let's go.
I wanted Trump.
You wanted Trump.
Yep. There was no way in hell I wanted her out there. But now I don't know what would have been better.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting the lower cost of a lot of just your everyday living things and
She thought tariffs would lower the cost of goods.
hoping that he would.
The whole point of a tariff is that it raises prices to encourage domestic manufacturing.
Things better for everybody in America because that's what we need. Groceries are already outrageous.
We do need things to be better for everyone in America, but why would you trust Trump, the most selfish, egotistical narcissist that I can think of, to make things better for everyone? Like, he only cares about himself, as I've said before many times. Not you, not me.
The tariffs on across the seas or whatever, like China, all that. It just makes everything more expensive for everybody.
Jamie Basinger is the only person we met in eastern South Dakota who openly questioned her own political views. Most people we talked to said it was risky to talk about politics here, even as the effects of Trump's tariffs loomed over the agricultural economy in an area that voted for him by about 70%. Generally, opinions...
And like I've said before, these rural areas kind of all had their own type of cultures before, but now Trump has taken it all over it all. Pro-America, I mean, I cannot stand how the right has just co-opted patriotism and replaced it with nationalism.
were divided between trust Trump's plan and
never mind. I was wrong. Pro-America, anti-Trump, they left that one off. I actually agree with this completely. And in fact, I think that's a really good strategy that Democrats need to do. They need to go hard into the patriotism angle in order to get people to support them now, to make people think that they actually care and that they're going to fight for them. Because you know what? If you want your country to be better, that is patriotic. Let's continue.
Wait, so Becky, let me ask one thing. Are you in a politically mixed marriage?
Yeah, did you see the Joe Biden sign?
That's kind of crazy.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't see that as
Becky
much.
Hofer was not afraid to talk. She's a Democrat, and her husband is a conservative non-voter. She's a freight broker. Basically, if a company needs to ship bricks, she'll find you a flatbed truck. If you need to ship meat, she'll get you a refrigerated truck.
Ooh, you need the truck tomorrow? Can you guys fork a pallet jack into the back of the trailer for him to pallet jack him to the front?
This gives her a window into real-time shifts in the economy.
Everybody's nervous. People are making different decisions for different reasons, but some of it's hesitation, some of it's actual price changes. Everybody just wants some stability right now.
Yeah, like a businesses really want stability, even if it's going to be a bad economy. At least they know what's coming, so they can prepare for that accordingly. Hire people, get rid of people, buy more or less goods, decide what they want to do. The problem with what Trump has done is that he announces these tariffs, then right before they're about to go into effect, they get delayed, and then right before they're about to go into effect again, they get delayed again. So it's like, are they happening or not? Because honestly, I think saying they're going to happen and then delaying them like this, it's almost worse than just doing them in the first place. Because at least if you just do them, at least people could prepare for it and then they could deal with it. But now it's like no one even knows what's going on. And why would anyone want to invest in the United States or start a business if they have no idea what the economic environment is going to be like? It's a horrible idea. It's honestly it really is worse than just doing the tariffs. Of course, not doing them would be better.
And those shifts can be complex.
Oh yeah,
she says
businesses want
China's
stability.
retaliatory tariffs on American pork and beef could lead to higher prices on fruit.
Right now it's produce season in California. We need to get out to California. What goes out to California? Meat. We haul pork, we haul beef. Where does it go? It goes to Asia. If it doesn't go, the price of produce is going to go up even that much more because they're going to have to pay more for the trucks.
As we've talked about, you're in a really conservative area, very pro-Trump area. Do you feel frustrated in trying to talk to your neighbors about what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing that frustrates me is that I just feel like nobody cares right now until it affects them. And I don't understand how they don't see that.
That's true for so many conservatives, though. I mean, how many people were opposed to gay marriage, like Dick Cheney, but then they had a family member who they cared about come out as gay, and then that forced them to change their mind because now it's someone that they know personally. Now they're affected by it. Only then do they begin to care. It's honestly just a lack of empathy. I think the problem is that a lot of time in this country, we have the idea of the sin of empathy. Empathy is somehow a weakness. No, I think not having empathy makes you weak.
They're not dumb. These people aren't.
Any of your neighbors
Honestly, part of the reason why people in New York City don't like Trump is because Trump is a New Yorker and they know him best.
No, I guess I don't see anything good about him.
Does it affect the way you think about America?
It scares me.
Terry Nebelsick, a lifelong Republican and retired school superintendent, was very careful in how he talked about the political climate. He's concerned that Trump's push to dissolve the Department of Education will cut public school funds for needy kids, potentially at a time of economic turmoil.
If poverty is happening to adults, children are hurting. And where adults sometimes just have to work through it and make sure there's food on the table. During that time, we have children and adolescents who are forming who they're going to be. And I do think that the public school is a collecting point for people to be able to reach those kids and make sure that they're fed and have medical attention and have their basic needs met.
Yeah,
Again
I mean,
and
he's a superintendent, so he does understand schools. And even though he voted for Trump, he understands that getting rid of the Department of Education would be a bad thing. And it's kind of like people who have experts in these things are going to kind of realize that it's not good. But like at one point, will they just admit it? That it's a bad idea.
Again, our
At what point do you
conversations
stop
in this
supporting Trump?
Midwestern nice town came back to character and values.
When Sheila and I raised our children, we taught them to be honest, not try to cheat anybody, to respect. Trump doesn't do any of those things.
Do you
exact
find
opposite.
a lot of farmers around here agree with you, or are
Ironically,
they?
Trump is also a complete rejection and a 180 on the moral teachings of Jesus. Most Trump supporters see themselves as strong Christians, and they voted for the least Christ-like person imaginable.
Fans of Trump?
This is a very Republican state. I think it's too soon for them to say they're wrong.
Yeah, the problem is it may always be too soon for a lot of them.
Ellie, I love the conversations that you are able to
So
bring
I think
to
she's
us.
actually pretty good. I think she used to work for Vice. Ellie Reeve. CNN since 2019. Yeah, she's been on Vice. So that's that. I mean, I don't think we really need it. The rest is just kind of like a CNN people talking. I do want to cover this article. This kind of ties in earlier in the video when they talked about the couple in a mixed political marriage, like a Democrat and a Republican. And here we have Gen Z's gender political divide creating problems for their dating lives. Just essentially, like, people are less and less willing to date people who disagree with them politically, especially on certain issues. And it's just a symptom of the polarization of society. And so let's see here. So 28% of Gen Z singles said differing political views could cause them to turn down a date, compared to 21% of millennials. I guess it's still not even a third, but I guess it also, but it depends when you say differing political views, like just how different do you have to be? It's probably a little bit of an open question, but I guess the point is people are a lot less willing to date people that they disagree with politically. And then also a 51-point gender divide among Gen Z voters, with women 18 to 29 favored former Vice President Kamala Harris over President Donald Trump by 38 points. So Gen Z women voted for Harris by 38 points, and men in the same group, 18 to 29-year-old men, favored Trump by 13 points. So that's a difference of 51 points. Guys, what is going on? And yep, so that's essentially it. I mean, the purpose of this was just to have another video talking about how Trump people are kind of weird still, and how at what point will they admit they're wrong? Like at what point, how bad do things actually have to get before they're willing to admit that voting for Trump was a mistake and that we should do something, like, I don't know, impeach him maybe? Some people will change their minds. Some people already have. It's a gradual thing. Everyone has their breaking point where they lose support. However, I think, the core cult base of Trump supporters, like a third of the people who voted for Trump, are probably never going to change their mind, which is kind of concerning. But, there's enough. Well, if enough people change their mind, we can definitely I think, I have to be optimistic that we can recover, but this is not a good sign that we're on. Like, society is super polarized. People are just abandoning reason and saying, well, just give them some more time. I'm sure the tariffs will lower our prices. I mean, it's just crazy. But anyway, that's that. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.